You may have visited one or two libraries and used some of their basic services, but there is much more to the library than you can see. This module introduces you to various kinds of libraries with their specialized services. For instance, you may be carrying out research on an aspect of agriculture as an undergraduate, and you may need to visit a special library such as that of the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, or IITA, in Ibadan, which demands a referral service from the library. This module will tell you how to go about it and also introduce you to all other types of libraries and the special services they offer. Unit 1, Types of Libraries. 1.0, Introduction. This unit will introduce you to types of libraries. However, before going into the types of libraries, you need to first understand the concept of library and its origin. The various types of libraries that will be treated are academic libraries, research or special libraries, school libraries, public libraries, and national libraries. Also in this unit, the functions of the different types of libraries will be treated. 2.0, Intended Learning Outcomes. By the end of this unit, you will be able to define a library, describe the origin of the library, and classify libraries by their characteristics and functions. 3.0, Main Content. The concept of a library. Before we go into the types of libraries, let us first understand the concept of a library. The word library, which is librairie in French and in Latin liber, means book. It is an organized collection of resources made accessible to a defined community for reference or borrowing. It provides physical or digital access to material, and may be a physical building or room or a virtual space, or both. A library's collection can include books, periodicals, newspapers, manuscripts, films, maps, prints, documents, microforms, CDs, cassettes, videotapes, DVDs, ebooks, audiobooks, databases, and other formats. Libraries range in size from a few shelves of books to several million items. In Latin and Greek, the idea of bookcase is represented by bibliotheca. This means library in many modern languages. For example, in French, library is called bibliothèque. History, origin of libraries. The first libraries contained archives of the earliest form of writing, such as clay tablets and cuneiform script discovered in Sumer, some dating back to 2600 BC. These written archives marked the end of prehistory and the beginning of history. According to Zhang in 2011, the earliest discovered private archives were kept at Ugarit. Also, there was evidence of libraries at Nippur around 1900 BC and at Nineveh around 700 BC, showing a library classification system. Private or personal libraries, consisting of written books, appeared in classical Greece in the 5th century BC. In the 6th century, at the very close of the classical period, the great libraries of the Mediterranean world were those of Constantinople and Alexandria. From the 15th century in central and northern Italy, libraries of humanists and their enlightened patriots books were brought over to the continent by French settlers in the 16th century. The oldest non-personal library on the North American continent was founded at the Jesuit College in Quebec City in 1635. Academic libraries. These are libraries of academic institutions such as universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. The purpose of establishing these libraries is to meet the information needs of staff and students in the institutions they belong to. The library is the heart of these institutions, since all they do revolves around books. Basically, these libraries support all academic programs offered in the institutions. Functions of academic libraries. 1. Provision of research information resources in line with the needs of the staff and students. 2. Provision of information materials as required for the academic programs of the parent institutions. 3. Provision of information resources for recreation and for personal self-development of users. 4. Provision of specialized information services to appropriate sections of the larger community. 5. Cooperation with other libraries at appropriate levels for improved and better information services. And 6. Provision of a conducive reading environment and facilities.
Research libraries are also special libraries. They are purposely established to cater for patrons with special and specific interests. Special libraries serve an identified group of users with common and special interests. They are privately owned and funded by the organization that established them. The resources of special libraries cover only particular subject areas or groups of subjects. Their subject area is usually defined from the onset. The information supplied by these libraries to their patrons is usually comprehensive and up-to-date, mainly for research. Their unique collections emphasize primary sources of information like journal articles, research reports, conference proceedings, and periodicals. Up-to-date books and electronic materials are also found in research libraries. Examples of special libraries are the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA Library, Nigeria Institute of Social and Economic Research, NISA, Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, CRIN, and the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, CBAC. Functions and services of research or special libraries include the following. First, the functions and resources of the library must be in line with the primary objectives of the parent body of the library. Second, the provision of in-house training activities to new users and staff members alike. Third, the provision and production of bibliographies. Fourth, the provision of current awareness services, or CAS, to the library clienteles. A space must be allocated for CAS in the library for the exhibition of newly published materials. Fifth, the provision of literature search. Sixth, selective dissemination of information, or SDI. The librarian must know users' profiles and send relevant information to them on their areas of interest. Seventh, the provision of other supportive services, such as photocopying, printing, and document delivery services. Eighth, interlibrary loans and networks are also provided by special libraries. Finally, special libraries perform some other internal and external services, such as writing periodic reports, monthly, quarterly, or annual organizing conferences, seminars, and talks for users and outsiders. School libraries are libraries that are established in schools. They are attached to primary and secondary schools. The main objective of school libraries is to serve the educational needs of pupils, students, and teachers. Among other resources, school libraries particularly have fiction, visual materials, study kits, and realia. Functions of school libraries include the following. First, they collect relevant information resources that will enhance the performance of the teachers as well as the pupils to achieve the aims and objectives of school education. Second, they develop and create good reading habits in pupils. Third, they help pupils to improve their vocabulary. Fourth, they support academic or schoolwork. Fifth, they help teachers and pupils to be current and up-to-date with daily information sources. Sixth, they serve as a source of subject information center for both teachers and pupils. Finally, they help to train pupils in the use of reference materials. Public libraries. A public library is a library that is open to everybody and is generally accessible by the public. Its source of funding is public taxes, and it is operated by civil servants. There are 5 fundamental characteristics shared by public libraries. The first is that they are generally supported by taxes, usually local, federal, or state government may contribute. They are under a board to serve the public. They are open to all community members can access their collections. Public libraries provide basic services without charge. The presence of a public library in a community is an indication that the community is literate. The basic difference between a public library and other types of libraries is that the main aim of a public library is to provide the information needs of the general public rather than provide the information needs of just a particular school, institution, or research population. The services of the public library are free. They organize reading clubs, storytelling, exhibitions, and so on. Users can borrow books and are given access to the internet where available. Functions and services of public libraries include: they cater for the social, educational, and recreational needs of the community. They collect, preserve, and disseminate library resources suitable for different categories of people such as children, adults, literates, and illiterates. They usually engage in repackaging of information using audiovisual materials and indigenous languages to render information services to the illiterate class. They promote recreation and leisure reading. They promote the civic and cultural activities of the community. They create and strengthen reading habits in children from childhood. They support both individual and self-conducted education as well as formal education at all levels. They provide adequate information that will improve the knowledge and opinion of the masses. National libraries. National libraries are specially established by the government of the nation to serve as the preeminent repository of information for that country. Unlike public libraries, national libraries rarely allow citizens to borrow books. Their collections usually consist of rare, valuable, or significant works. The major mandate of national libraries is to serve as the memory of the nation. Being the nation's depository center, they are responsible for receiving all copyright publications within the country. Functions of national libraries: to act as the legal depository and bibliographic center of the nation, to give advice or library development or organization to any agency of the federal, state, or local government, to have a responsibility for the national bibliography and development of bibliographic services. The National Library of Nigeria, with the headquarters at Abuja, plays a parental role to other libraries in Nigeria. It issues the International Standard Book Number, or ISBN, to publishers and authors of books. Self-assessment exercises. The basic types of libraries are academic libraries, children's libraries, public libraries and national libraries, public libraries, adult libraries, children's libraries and national libraries, agricultural libraries, academic libraries, organizational libraries and public libraries, academic libraries, research or special libraries, school libraries, public libraries and national libraries. One of these is not a key function of academic libraries: to act as the legal depository and bibliographic center of the nation, provision of research information resources in line with the needs of the staff and students, provision of information materials as required for the academic programs of the parent institutions, provision of information resources for recreation and for personal self-development of users. Please drop your feedback in the comment section. Conclusion. The use of library is pertinent to the individual, the society, and economic growth of the nation. The society is dynamic, and meeting the change requires constant research. Research can only be worthwhile when there is a repository of knowledge or information. Summary. To recap what you have learned in this unit, click on the video below or copy the link and paste it on a web browser. The video is a summary of what you have read in this unit.